You know, I've always thought I had life figured out. I was raised in a wealthy family, went to the best schools, and climbed the corporate ladder faster than anyone expected. I could walk into a room and command attention with ease, and everyone knew my name, Ifunanya. The perfect daughter, the successful entrepreneur, the Lagos socialite with impeccable taste. But none of that seemed to matter when it came to my family's obsession with my single status. You see, in our society, no matter how successful you are as a woman, people still measure your worth by whether or not you're married. It didn't help that my younger cousins were getting engaged, my friends were busy posting wedding pictures, and my mother couldn't hide her disappointment every time we were at a family gathering. It all came to a head at my cousin's engagement party. The one where my aunties, in their subtle way, surrounded me and said, "Ifunanya, when is your own wedding?" "Oh, you're not getting any younger, oh." I smiled through the entire event, but by the time I got home that night, I was done. Tired. Fed up with the endless comments, the side glances, the pity in everyone's eyes. So, in a moment of desperation, I did something ridiculous. I decided I was going to rent a boyfriend. Yes, you heard me right, a rented boyfriend. It started with a random ad I saw online. Need a date for an event? Rent a boyfriend today. I laughed when I first saw it, but then I realized maybe that was exactly what I needed. Just for one event. A handsome man to show up with me, make everyone stop talking, and then leave me in peace. What could go wrong? I had everything planned in my head: find a decent guy for hire, take him to the next event, silence the gossip, and move on. But things didn't go as smoothly as I imagined. The next day, I walked into one of my favorite restaurants in Ikoyi, trying to clear my mind. I was still debating whether or not to call the number for the rent-a-boyfriend service. I had my phone out, staring at the screen, when I noticed someone looking at me. At first, I didn't pay much attention, but when I finally glanced up, there he was, tall, dark-skinned, and casually dressed. He didn't look like the polished man I was used to seeing at high-end places. There was something raw and real about him, like he didn't need to pretend to be anyone but himself. Before I knew it, he walked over to my table, his smile disarming. "Is this seat taken?" he asked, pointing to the chair opposite me. I was a bit taken aback by his boldness, but decided to play along. "No, it's not," I replied, trying to sound nonchalant. He sat down, introduced himself as Timmy, and we started talking. It was strange. Usually, I'm guarded around strangers, but something about him made me relax. He was charming without being overbearing, and he had this way of making me forget all the noise around us. We talked for what felt like hours. About everything from Lagos traffic to our favorite street foods. For a guy who said he was a carpenter, he had a surprising amount of knowledge about things that had nothing to do with wood or nails. It intrigued me. As the conversation flowed, an idea popped into my head. I hadn't even called the rent-a-boyfriend service yet, but here was Timmy, a man who seemed perfect for the role. He didn't know me from Adam, didn't seem impressed by my wealth or status, and could pass for the type of guy my family would stop questioning. I made him an offer. Yes, right there in the restaurant. "Would you be interested in coming with me to a gala this weekend?" I asked, my heart racing. "It's nothing serious. I just need someone to, well, pretend to be my boyfriend for the night. I'll pay you for your time." For a moment, he looked at me like I was crazy, and I thought he might get up and leave. But then, to my surprise, he leaned back in his chair and laughed. "You want to pay me to be your date?" he asked, amusement in his eyes. "Yes," I said, trying to keep a straight face, though I was dying inside from embarrassment. "I'll pay you well." Timmy was quiet for a moment, studying me like he was trying to figure out if I was serious. Then he smiled. "I'll come with you to the gala," he said. "But I don't want your money. Let's just see how it goes." I didn't know what to make of it at first, but I was too relieved to question his motives. And so, we exchanged numbers, set up plans, and by the time he left, I felt a strange sense of excitement. Maybe this crazy idea wasn't so bad after all. Fast forward to the night of the gala, and I was a bundle of nerves. When Timmy showed up at my house, I was floored. He wore a perfectly tailored suit, but still had that rugged charm about him. He wasn't like the men in my circle, who looked polished but hollow. He had substance, presence. The night went better than I could have imagined. Timmy charmed everyone at the gala, my friends, my family, even the nosy aunties, who usually had something to say. And the best part. He made me feel at ease, like I didn't have to pretend to be anyone but myself. For the first time in a long while, I wasn't the rich daughter or the successful entrepreneur. I was just Ifunanya, laughing and enjoying the evening with a man who seemed to genuinely like me for me. I thought it would end there, one event, one night, and we'd both move on. But things didn't quite work out that way. Over the next few weeks, I kept seeing Timmy. He was easy to talk to, and even easier to be around. But something didn't add up. For a carpenter, he seemed far too comfortable in my world. He knew things that didn't fit the life he claimed to have. One evening, as we sat in my living room, after dinner, I couldn't hold back anymore. "Timmy, there's something I need to ask you," I said, turning to face him. "You're not really a carpenter, are you?" For a moment, he was silent, and I thought I might have scared him off. But then he sighed and leaned back in his chair. "No, I'm not just a carpenter," he admitted, his voice low. "My full name is Oluwatomilihin Adelik. My family is, well, let's just say we have more money than I care to think about." I stared at him, completely shocked. Oluwatomilihin Adelik? The billionaire? I'd heard that name plenty of times, seen his family's name in newspapers, but never would I have guessed. But why? I managed to ask. Why pretend to be a carpenter? Timmy looked at me, his expression softening. Because I was tired of people seeing me for my money. I wanted someone who would love me for who I am, not for my wealth. When I met you, I didn't want to lead with that. I wanted you to know the real me. It hit me like a ton of bricks. All this time, I thought I was renting a boyfriend, a simple carpenter. But in reality, I had rented a husband, a billionaire who had disguised himself to find real love. I didn't know whether to laugh or cry. But in that moment, as I sat there with Timmy, I realized something important. It wasn't about the money, or the status, or what society thought. It was about finding someone who saw the real me, just like I had seen the real him. And as for the rest, well, let's just say we both got more than we bargained for. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this video, we'd love your support. Please like, share, and leave a comment to let us know your thoughts.